after a long flight, we got back to the hotel and met our tour guides. Then had a few hours to freshen up and we were out again. We walked around the streets of Hanoi, trying some of the local food and visiting temples. This trip is already amazing and really is an experience. Loving it so far. Started our day with a 4-hour road trip out to Halong Bay where we would be staying for the night. Once we got to Halong Bay, we took a small boat out to the huge one we'll be staying at. We had a huge lunch that was so yummy and then cruised to a cave to have a look inside. Swimming was definitely a must and it was so beautiful. To finish the day off, we danced on top of the deck. Every day it just keeps getting better. We woke up to a beautiful view as we cruised along the bay. Once we had breakfast, the chef came up and showed us a few tricks on how to make decorations out of food. Finally, we said goodbye and got on our minibus for a 2-hour drive to the village Doc Sona. We had an amazing meal provided by his family and had tea with his father, who was a survivor of the Vietnam War. We all got on a bike and went for a ride around the town. So many rice fields! We stopped at one and helped a lady replant some rice where we got covered in mud as they plant them in watery mud. And we had a few games, tug of war, who can catch the most fish, and paddling 100 meters in a bamboo boat. A local family brought their buffalo along and we all got a chance to ride it. Definitely not what I thought a buffalo would feel like. Once we got back to the village, we washed the mud off, said our goodbyes, and hopped in our bus for the journey back to Hanoi. Finally, we get a sleep in, 11 o'clock, and we hit the road. First stop, we were Ho Chi Minh, a man who brought independence to Vietnam was buried. We travelled for the next hour around the streets on a cyclo. We got off at the Ho La prison, which was used by the French colonists to imprison the Vietnamese that rebelled against them. For the last time, we hopped in our minibus and drove to the airport for our flight to Da Nang. It's been another great day and can't wait for tomorrow. Started off with a huge breakfast and travelled into the old town of Hoi An. We saw how silk is made and woven and came back to the hotel to relax for a bit. We sat in the pool for ages, which was so good, and climbed to the rooftop of a cafe where we celebrated Nalina's birthday with yummy Vietnamese cake. Another great day to add to the list. Today was a chilled day, late start and off for some shopping at the markets. Today we drove to the Cu Chi tunnels that were used by the Vietnamese to hide from the Americans during the Vietnam War. It was amazing to see the way people lived in that period of time underground and how they tried to kill the enemy using hidden traps. Kind of a late start today. We walked to the City Hall, the Notre Dame Cathedral, the tallest building in Saigon, and the old post office, and finished it off with lunch. We journeyed back to the hotel and left again to visit an orphanage for disabled kids. This was such an eye-opener just seeing all these kids. When it was lunchtime, I got to feed a really young boy who was so adorable. I pretended the spoon was an aeroplane. Today was such an incredible day and one that I will never forget. Those kids really touched my heart. Today we drove out to the Long Tan battlefield. We had the chance to speak to a Vietnamese veteran who was 68 this year and was able to ask him questions about the war. It was so amazing to be able to speak to someone who had experienced the things he had. We drove out to the Long Tan Cross to perform a short ceremony for the 18 Australians who had died on the field. We stopped for lunch and then went to another orphanage where we donated all of the toys we brought over. When the toys were brought into the room, the kids were so excited. It was such a great feeling. Tonight we had dinner on the river. We also had some karaoke on the bus, which was hilarious. Another brilliant day. We made our way to the Reunification Palace and had a look around the 4-story high building. Our last stop was the Remnants Museum containing artifacts about the Vietnam War. Last time on our bus, we really went all out on karaoke, while we all shed a tear leaving our awesome tour guide Mr. G. Missing this place and all the people we met along the trip so much.